So do you see the instrumental here when I go through something?
I do. I'll tell you why.
Hi everyone, welcome to the last video from the series about Czech cases. Today we will speak about the instrumental case,
Okay.
about the 7th case. And again, I have a guest here, my dear friend Jen, which you probably know from her channel Dream Prague. So welcome, Jen.
Ahoy.
And thank you for joining me and to helping me discover what's behind these crazy Czech cases. So we will speak about the philosophy or the meaning behind Czech cases.
Excellent.
Right? So Jen, when I say the instrumental case in Czech, what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
Well, I think of instruments. So I think of tools, writing instruments, instruments in the kitchen, things that you use to do something.
Great. Can you give me an example?
Let's see. Napíšu perem.
Napíšu dopis perem.
Right. So I'm writing with a pen. That's the instrument. So you could think with a pen, or I'm writing by pen. Like, how am I writing? With a pen.
So in English, you would use for the instrumental, you would probably use by and with, right? These two prepositions.
Exactly. Would I say krajím maso nožem? Nožem. So I'm cutting meat. How? With a knife. Yeah. So the knife is in the instrumental case.
Or can I say using a knife?
Yeah, using a knife. I like to think of it as, how did you do the thing? How did you write with a pen? How did you write, how did you cut the meat with a knife?
Great. These two examples were quite real and physical, to write with something, to cut meat with something. I will give you a more abstract example.
Okay.
Myslím hlavou.
I think with my head.
Or using my head.
Yes.
So the head is my instrument that makes it possible for me to think.
Exactly.
There is a horrible expression used by Czech teachers and parents when they speak with their kids that don't behave. They say mysli hlavou a ne kolenem.
Think with your head and not with your knees.
Oh, poor kids.
Yes.
But that's the idea of the instrument.
Use this instrument. Okay, good.
Yeah. And another abstract example would be vydělávat si učením.
So I earn a living. How? By teaching. So teaching is the instrument by which I learn. How do you earn a living as a teacher? Okay.
We can also use the instrumental when we travel somewhere and we use a means of transportation.
Of course. So jezdím autem do práci.
What is it in English?
I go by car repeatedly.
Great.
That's how I get to work. You could say jezdím tramvají, jezdím autobusem, nebo metrem.
Great.
Again, it answers the question, how do you get to work? By tram, by car.
Yeah. And you see that in English we need a preposition, by car, by tram. In Czech we can skip the preposition.
Okay.
And we just use the instrumental. We just change the ending and then it's obvious, it's clear that it's by something that is our tool or instrument or means. Jen, now I would like to tell you a couple of sentences and I will ask you again to find some logic behind it or explain it to me. Okay?
I'll try.
So I will give you 3 examples. Hýbat rukama.
To move your hands? Okay. Is it to wave or no, just to move?
Hýbat, just to move.
Just to move. Move your hands. Okay.
Then speaking about a dog, vrtět ocasem.
He's wagging his tail? To wag one's tail? Okay.
And then speaking about a door, bouchat dveřma.
To slam the door. The door is the thing that's being slammed. It's like you can't do the slam without the instrument of the door. The dog can't wag. You don't say the dog's wagging. You need the instrument, the tail, to do the action. So maybe that's why it's in instrumental. And moving one's hands, because you just said Jen moves.
But it means something else.
Right. It's you want to talk about this instrument. By what, in what manner was I moving? How was I moving my hands?
Great. And we often use it when we speak about body parts, right? Tail, hands. You can say hýbat hlavou.
To move your head.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Hýbat hlavou. Mm-hmm. Or often you can hear pokývat hlavou.
Pokývat, to nod.
Pokývat hlavou.
Okay.
Yeah. So again, this is another use of the instrumental.
So there's going to be a tool involved. There's going to be some sort of like means by which we did something.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Now you can think about the instrumental as a channel for the flow of energy of the verb.
Mm-hmm.
And if you think about a channel or a conduit, then you can think about it as a path.
Okay.
When you go through a street or through space,
yes,
we use the instrumental as well.
Okay, can you give me an example?
For example, jdu parkem.
How did you come? I went by park. I almost would say like
I
go by park.
Through the park.
Okay.
Right? Or for example, jdu ulicí, jdu Jugoslávskou ulicí.
You could say I went by Yugoslavska Street.
So you use the preposition by in English.
Yeah. You would say that.
So in these two examples, jdu parkem, I go through the park, and jdu Jugoslávskou ulicí. Do you see the idea of instrument or means behind it?
Yes, it's the way you went. Like how it answers how. The instrumental answers how, because it's a joke where I'm from in Los Angeles that the first topic at any party is how did you get here? Because traffic is such a challenge. So everybody wants to share how they arrived.
That's interesting.
It's a very Los Angeles thing. So you could say, I went by freeway.
Okay.
I went, by foot, by I don't know, by surface streets. So it's like the way, the path you went somewhere. And that is similar to like, how did you get here? Like, you're not focusing on like wandering through the park. The park was the way you arrived.
Great. Yeah. That's an excellent explanation. When you speak about a way or a path, it's actually a means for you to arrive, right?
Yeah.
So in English, you would use the preposition through the park.
Yes, through the park. But what we mean is by park. We don't say by park, but the point of the answer is this was the way I came.
Okay.
So it has the same context, the same meaning as you have it in instrumental.
Yeah. And in Czech, again, we don't bother using a preposition. We just say jít and then the word park in the instrumental. Jít parkem. And my third example is a little song for Czech kids. I will sing it to you.
Okay.
And let's see if you know it. Kočka leze dírou pes oknem. Da-da-da-da. I don't remember the rest, but the beginning is Kočka leze dírou pes oknem.
So the cat is like crawling through the hole. And is dírou?
Kočka leze dírou.
Dírou. So dírou is the one that's an instrumental. So this is, you're describing the path that she's crawling or creeping. So that's why that's in the instrumental. And the pes is doing...
Pes oknem.
Oh, and the pes is going by the window.
By the window.
How are they getting out of the house? These are the ways. These are the mechanisms that they're getting out.
I like you using the word way because it can be physically a way. I go through a window or by a street.
Yes.
But it can also be the manner of doing something.
The way I write is with a pen. That's how I created this writing.
Now, Jen, there is one question that's connected with the instrumental, and that is, it's a short word, čím. Do you understand it?
By what? By what?
So we can ask, čím píšeš? Píšeš tuškou nebo perem?
Yeah, or you might say with what, but like by what means do you write?
Yeah, by what means. That's great.
By what mechanism? Okay.
Great.
Čím píšeš?
When we start our video, I can also ask you, čím začneme? Začneme instrumentálem nebo dativem?
Oh, interesting. So it's like, but it's like what topic or by what?
By what do we start?
By what do we start?
Using the dative topic or the instrumental topic?
Oh, that's hard. Okay.
Now, Jen, in passive sentences, in English you use the preposition by, right? Like the university was founded by Charles IV. And in Czech, what do you think? What do we do in Czech?
University postavil.
Maybe it's an institution, so I would say založena, byla založena.
Oh, founded. Založena Karlem.
Karlem, great. So we use the instrumental in Czech.
By Charles. Karlem
Čtvrtým.
Adjective. Okay.
Karlova univerzita byla založena Karlem IV.
Yeah.
So, do you see the concept of the instrumental here?
Oh yes, it was built by him, and it's metaphorical. I mean, it wasn't he didn't build it, but he was the instrument. He funded it. He instructed it. He was the instrument that built this university.
You're right. Yeah. So whenever we speak about or we use passive sentences in Czech, the person or the thing that's behind it is the instrumental case.
Makes sense.
Something was done by someone or something.
It follows logically.
Before we continue, let me ask you something. Have you been learning Czech for some time already, but you still struggle to use it? Are you afraid of speaking? Have you been introduced to all the grammar, but you're unable to use it in conversation? Or maybe, as one of my clients recently said, do you feel like a baby when you speak Czech? If you answered yes, then you might be interested in my program Study Like a Pro. In 30 days, I show you how to learn Czech so that you finally start using it in real life. The link is in the description and I will see you inside. Now, Jen, there are two sentences that are both correct in Czech. We can say jsem youtuberka or jsem youtuberkou. So you either use the nominative case or the instrumental case. Now people often ask me about this. Eliška, why should I use the instrumental?
Sure.
You can use both. I would say that the instrumental is a little bit more fancy if you want to sound like jsem youtuberkou. I think that the nominative is more common or more everyday language.
And it also translates well into English. Yeah.
But now I would like to speak about the meaning behind it. Do you see the connection, again, with what we've said already about the instrumental case?
Well, I do see a connection because as we saw before, when we said I earn money as a teacher, I earn my living as a teacher. By teaching, instrumental. The same is true if you use instrumental, like já jsem učitelkou, like that is how I work. This is the means by which I earn money. It's like not stated, but it's the same concept. So jsem učitelkou. That's how I work.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
Thank you for the explanation. And you can use it with the verb to be. So jsem učitelkou, jsem učitelka. And we also use it with the verb to become.
Stát se učitelkou.
So you can say stala jsem se učitelkou. And with the verb stát se, it has to be with the instrumental.
Oh, it does. Okay, good.
So you can't say stala jsem se učitelka. Stala jsem se učitelkou.
Oh, that's new. I didn't know that.
Now, Jen, there is one preposition used with the instrumental case. Do you know which one is it?
Well, there are a few that I know, but this one is only used with instrumental, and it's s.
Great. So sometimes you can see the form se, which is used to make the pronunciation easier, but the basic form is s.
Yes.
Yeah. So can we quickly come up with some examples, some verbs connected with the preposition?
Well, s means with. So s kamarádkami,
with female
friends. Sejdeme s manažerem.
Sejdeme se, so we will meet.
We'll meet with the manager. Manager and I will meet. S psem, with my dog.
Great.
So it follows the same logic that we've been talking about, like with. We use this with or by, and this is where we actually use the preposition with. And it means quite literally in English, with someone, with something.
Yeah. Now I would like to speak about some idiomatic expressions that use the preposition s. The first one is co je s tebou? When I see you're upset, so I say co je s tebou?
Co je s tebou? What is with you? Exactly how we would say it in English. What's with you?
Yeah, easy. Co je s tebou?
Yeah, good.
Then we can say when we do something, I always encourage my clients to learn Czech s chutí, s radostí.
S chutí, s radostí. So s radostí is with joy, with pleasure. S chutí. Chuť is like with taste or flavor. So like with like some with flavor. We might say with flair, with like with passion maybe.
With passion, yeah.
Okay.
Not like, oh, I need to learn Czech today, but like, let's learn.
let's learn Czech like an Italian. Schutí.
Mít něco společného s někým or s něčím.
To have something in common with something or someone.
Yeah, so you can say, nemám s tím nic společného.
I don't have anything in common with him.
It means like I have nothing to do with it.
Okay.
I'm not
so no connection. No connection. Okay.
And then you surely know the expression s dovolením.
With permission. With permission.
Yeah.
But it's a nice way. It's to pass, so to go. Yeah.
Yeah. So if somebody's in your way and you want to go through, you say s dovolením, pardon.
Yes. By way of your permission, I can pass.
So, Jen, we spoke about the preposition s. And there are 5 more prepositions connected with the instrumental case that I would like to talk about.
Okay.
When you speak about space, do you know what prepositions can you use with the instrumental?
Sure. PŘED, in front of. Za, behind. MEZI, between. Pod, nad. Pod, nad.
Great.
Yeah. Above and below.
This is quite easy, I would say. You just remember these prepositions and use them in a real physical way. So I can say obraz je nad gaučem.
The picture is above the couch.
Can you explain where's the instrumental here? Obraz je nad gaučem.
Gaučem is the instrumental because it follows the preposition that is used with the instrumental nad.
Great. Pes je pod stolem.
The dog is below the table. So pes is nominative subject. He is pod, below. Stolem would then be from stool. It becomes stolem because it's an instrumental.
Right, so we can use these prepositions in the physical sense, but then you can use it in many idiomatic expressions or abstract meanings. So for example, you can say pod vlivem alkoholu.
Pod vlivem.
Eliška řídila auto pod vlivem alkoholu.
Under the influence. Oh, vlivem. Pod vliv. It was a little quick. Pod vliv. Because it's the instrumental pod vlivem alcohol. She's under the influence of alcohol.
Do you also say it in English like this?
Perfectly like that, yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Under the influence of alcohol?
Yes.
Okay, so that's easy. Then when you speak about Czech cities that are close to a river, or they have a river in the center of the city or in the middle of the city, we use the preposition nad.
Nad.
So for example,
nad.
we have...
What's the city that we always go on the way to Dresden? There's a place. Ústí
nad Labem.
And the Labe is the what is the name of the Labe?
Elbe.
The Elbe in English, So Labe would be in Czech, and then nad Labem makes it instrumental.
So over the river Labe.
Yeah.
Another maybe a bit more abstract expression would be něco je přede mnou, but not meaning that something is in front of me physically. But when I speak about an event...
Zkoušky z občanství je před mnou. Přede mnou.
Přede mnou.
Přede mnou.
Yeah. So it's like, oh,
I have a citizenship test ahead of me.
And then when it's over,
zkoušky je nad mnou?
Za mnou.
Sorry, za mnou.
Zkouška je za mnou.
Zkouška ne za mnou.
So you can say,
not if I'm speaking Czech like that, it's not going to be.
Bude to za tebou. It's going to be behind you.
Eventually.
It actually makes sense. So it's like, it's behind me.
It's literally like we do in English.
Right. So again, it's quite understandable.
Yeah.
Here. So Jen, before we finish, one last situation where we can use these prepositions. It's the domain of time. So do you know, for example, how to say 3 years ago in Czech or 2 years ago?
Sure. Před 2 lety is 2 years ago. Před 3 lety. That was 3 years ago.
Yeah. So we literally say before 2 years. Before 3 years. And we use the instrumental.
Interesting. And literally in English we would say 3 years ago. 2 years ago. Okay.
Yeah.
Before
or you can say před týdnem, před měsícem, před rokem.
Před 2 týdny.
Great.
Okay.
Yeah. And the preposition MEZI can also be used with time or in connection with time.
Sure.
So I can say přijdu mezi 7 a 8 hodinou.
I'm coming between the 8th hour and the 9th hour.
Mezi 7 a 8.
7th hour and the 8th hour. Between 7 and 8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So again, because we have the preposition mezi here, we use the instrumental.
Could I say před Vánoci a Velikonoci?
Even though I'm not sure.
Or, I'm sorry, not před. Mezi Vánoci a Velikonoci.
You can, but I'm not sure whether we decline it as Vánoci or Vánocemi. I have to admit, I'm not sure.
Okay.
So go ahead and look it up. But yes, you can say it.
So and then I can do like between February and May. Like I can use like between Tuesday and Thursday.
Yes, mezi středou a čtvrtkem, mezi únorem a březnem.
Okay.
Yeah, great examples.
Perfect. That's good. I'll work on those.
Okay. So Jen, that was the last thing from this video about the
very useful
instrumental.
Very instrumental.
Very instrumental. So again, before we finish, do you have any comments or questions?
No, this is one of my favorite ones, and it's really
Okay.
yeah, because it just makes a lot of sense, and I use it all the time.
The
all the
instrumental.
time. Yes, instrumental you're using constantly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So because this was the last video from the series about Czech cases, and again, thank you so much for joining me.
Of course.
Do you have a message or a recommendation for our viewers? When it comes to cases, maybe, or learning Czech?
Yes, I think you have to do a combination, as we've mentioned, of just memorizing. That helps you get there, but all then intermix learning these reasons, because then what you memorized makes sense and your knowledge expands like this. I think my biggest mistake was trying to learn the grammar like a robot, and then I knew all these rules, but I couldn't use them at all. So sometimes memorizing the expressions you know you'll use, that helps you get out the door and speak. And then when you go home and you read why, or you watch these videos, then the lights go on because you understand why you're saying something. So it's a little bit of art and science.
Yeah, like a mixture. I agree. I think it's great to know the rules, to understand grammar, but I recommend seeing grammar as a support system, but don't make it the main subject of your studies. I think the main focus should be using the language and making mistakes. And the grammar is just there to support you, to explain, so that you understand a little bit better, but it's not the main thing, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So, see you next time. Thank you so much, Jen.
Of course.
Yeah. Ciao. Ciao.